So the purpose of this video is to take a quick look at lookup mappings. If you've already looked at the video on conditional lookups, that gives you the structure and kind of a sense of what it is that we're doing with these things. The lookup mappings is another use of that same approach. In a more limited fashion. So this one is the more complex one. If you haven't already watched the video on conditional lookups, that would be a good place to start. So for this one, the lookup mapping, if I jump to that page, really all we have here is the mapping of a project category to a project type. So the child lookup here is project category. The parent lookup is the project type. There are only three project types: program, a project, and a service. We're not really even using services, so the only category that goes with that type is service. Similarly, whenever we have a program, the category is program. So the only thing of interest is a type of project which has multiple possibilities. Could be an AM enhancement project, could be a global engineering project, could be any of these different things. This becomes significant because the type is often used to dictate what's viewable on the project detail page. So for instance, global engineering doesn't want to see all of the different subpages associated with IT projects, so they have a display condition where the project category is not equal to global engineering. Then those pages display. So that way someone in global engineering goes to a global engineering project. It has a category of global engineering project. Those subpages don't display, and the subpage for global engineering data does. So it's important to set those properly on a project, and you pick from the drop down called project category. So if I want to take a quick look at a project, I go to one of my test projects, and I can see project type is project, project category. There are all the different variations of a project. So how do we deal with this thing? It's really pretty straightforward. If we need a new lookup mapping, then we would say new lookup mapping, and you only have three fields to fill in. Two of them only have one choice. So the mapping type is only, this capability is only used for that project type and category. So you'd select that, then you go to the parent lookup and pick the one that you want. So if I wanted to add a new value to program, I could do that and say add, and then I go to the child lookup, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky because the only things that are displayed here are the various project and service and program types that already exist. So if you want to add a new one, you can't just do it here. You first have to update the list that drives this one. And to do that, you go to the lookup called idea and project category. So I go to administration, lookups, search for idea and project category, go to the values tab, and now I see all of the various values that we saw a minute ago. Notice there are more than what we saw on the pop-up window, on the browse window, because a bunch of these are inactive. We're not using them. So if you do want to add a new project category, then what you can do is create a new value here, and then you can create a new mapping. Now notice I do have a couple of active values here. Apps rationalization is one. Actually, that may have been there. Didn't notice it. Is it there? It is. Okay. So in order to add a new one, all I have to do is add it here. Once I've added it here, then it will show up in this pop-up, and I can define a new mapping to associate the appropriate parent with the appropriate child. And that, as they say, is that.